Hi, I'm Sophia. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 25, so a bit
25.
younger than some of the
Okay.
people you've been having on.
Well, did you have a question or do you want to talk about the topic?
Both. So one, I haven't been listening to you for a super long time, but I've come in and out of different lives. And one thing I was knowing or noticing is you don't always necessarily talk about the like monolithic woman in maybe the best light. And I would love to know like what do you like about women?
The monolithic woman in the best
Or
light. What does
well,
that
I
mean?
feel like you act like women all act the same when like they don't necessarily. And so I would love to know like what do you like about women?
Just a second. Audience, I want you to fix your eyes on the screen over here. Everyone is special. No one can be generalized. All women act the same. Do you think women act more similar or different?
I mean, I think just overly I don't like people
I
from
don't care
all
what you,
over the
ma'am, you
world
keep saying like.
circumstances.
Ma'am, hold on. I want to let's do this. Let's do this. Are you a college? Are you an educated woman?
Yeah,
Okay. Are generalizations valid?
to a point, but we need to be specific of like, I assume
Okay,
you're talking
you gotta
about
take that.
women
You
in a
have a Bluetooth? You have a Bluetooth or something? Are you on Bluetooth or
no,
something?
it's making
Okay.
a weird feedback here. I can move you. Does that sound better?
Well, yeah, there was a slight delay. Uh, are
Okay.
generalizations valid? You said what?
I think I referenced that
Are
when making
generalizations valid?
generalizations, being specific to the area you're making the generalization. So if we're talking about women in
It's
like
hot in
urban,
Arizona. It's hot in Arizona. Is it
mm-hmm.
always hot in Arizona?
For the most part, yes.
But it's not always.
Mm-hmm.
But is the generalization valid?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. All right. So what I talk about is broad generalizations that are broadly true for most women. Why do we need to go into the tangential or the nuance?
I think for me, I've been waiting to see someone that has a similar train of thought or belief system as me on your show, or you talking about someone like me, if that makes specific. Or I'm being
Okay.
broad. So, for example, a lot of times you have women on your show who are 30s and above with kids, like in and out of relationships. That's not
Mhm.
me. And so when I'm going into the show, I'm like, is he going to talk about someone like me? And so that's where
What
I'm
does that
coming
mean? What's
from.
someone like you?
Ooh, I'm waiting to have sex till marriage. So when dating, me dating looks
Um,
very
okay,
different than
well,
some of the
yeah,
people you
ma'am,
talk to.
ma'am, I've had at least 7 shows on that very topic.
Okay. And I did say I was new, so I definitely missed it, and that's on me.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there's 3 or 4 videos up from this year.
Okay.
Is this a religious belief?
Yeah, for the most part. It's like a promise I made to God. So yeah.
Are you a Christian?
Yes. I
Well, what
yeah.
I'm doing is I'm asking at 25, you're waiting till marriage to have sex, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what I'm trying to understand is where that belief comes from,
Mm-hmm.
number one, and how strongly it's attached.
Very strong.
All right. So, do you attend church regularly?
I just moved to DC about a year ago during COVID, and so it's been pretty hard to find churches. But I've worked in ministry for a while, and I'm still very part of my church back home in Seattle, just online, so not a physical church.
So the answer is no.
But because of COVID, they only have online churches.
And we've been, okay, no. You could have been at, no.
I mean, I go to church.
Okay, okay.
I'm not
All right.
a part of
Okay,
it.
so the direct answer is no. I don't go to the physical church body. I have my.
I should have corrected myself. I do go to the physical church body. Yes. I'm just not a member of church.
Okay, so
where I am.
This is a belief that you hold strongly, but you're not in the body.
I am. I'm just not a member of a church.
You have a church home you visit. You have a church home you go to weekly. What's going on with your camera? Because you're coming in. Do you have a church home that you go to weekly?
Yes.
Is there an active singles ministry?
I just started going to it around Easter, so I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I could definitely check it out. It's a very small church.
Stop. They were already getting to the problems. You don't go to a church regularly. The church you go to doesn't have an active singles ministry, so I'm sure they don't have a ministry that's actively promoting marriage with you. The church why did you pick the church you attend? Oh God. Can you get close to the window or something? Because your Wi-Fi is doing something. I don't know what's going on. You got people calling you or something?
Yeah, let me just turn my phone off. So I was going to one church in a different part of the DMV, and I noticed some of the things the pastor believed.
How are you supposed to find a husband? How are you supposed to find a husband? How are you supposed to find a husband?
I'm a member of a Black professionals networking group, and so
that's
I'm
not
there.
Christian. It's not Christian.
Or it's they
how
have.
How are you supposed to find? How are you supposed to see? It comes down to.
May you let me finish, please?
No. Nope, because you go on and draw on. And
I was trying to tell you.
No, that's not how that's going. That's not how that's going to work. That's not how that's going to work. And that's not how it's going to work because I've given you plenty of latitude. You don't answer directly. The bottom line is you can have your belief, but I'm asking the fundamental blocking and tackling. How are you supposed to find Mr. Right? How are you supposed to find you? And if you're in the dating environment with non-Christian people, being able to hold your chastity until marriage in a worldly dating environment, not likely.
Sort of what I was going to say is in these Black professional groups, they have different singles ministries for Christian, and I'm in those.
But again, who's leading you or guiding you in your quest to be found by your husband?
My pastor back home in Seattle.
Your pastor back home in Seattle, but you're not in Seattle.
Correct. And I do.
So my point is, I talk to women like you. When I talk about Christian feminism, I've talked to women like this. And if you guys will recall, the 42-year-old woman that lived in Seattle, the virgin, she was retaining herself. At the end of the day, you can have your belief, but unless you're dating from a pool of men who share your same belief, the likelihood of running into a man is going to wait until marriage. How long do you think after meeting a man before you would accept his proposal for marriage?
I think 1 to 2 years. Like that.
So a man is supposed to meet you and date you, and 1 to 2 years later propose to you. Right?
I've been in relationships for 1 to 2 years, yeah.
1 to 2 years, right, but you were also young.
True.
So that man is going to be without sex Yeah.
I mean, everyone I've dated hasn't had sex with me, and those relationships have been about 1 to 2 years. Do you think
Hmm.
it's not realistic for, say, the modern woman?
I don't think it's realistic for a woman who's not in a church. If it's realistic if you are a woman who's really following her religious convictions. That means you're in a church that one of the main motivations is to foster marriage. They have the singles ministry, male and female, where they actively help couples couple because you can have your belief. I was raised in the church. I've been over singles ministries, and I'm going to tell you, women like you exist everywhere, but you're still trying to date in the worldly market, and that's easier to do when you're younger. Have somebody wait 1 2 years, but as you're 25, dear heart, ain't no man in the dating market going to wait 1 to 2 years unless he shares your belief system.
I have a question for you in that
Do
case.
do
So
you believe that?
that makes sense to me. Absolutely. So the church I was a part of for like the last year before I switched to this new church, they had a really good ministry program. However, some of their doctrine was off. Is it, you said you came from a faith background. Do you think it's worth it going to church just to be part of the like
Well, I think if you're
singles
going to
young
use
adult
that as a
ministry?
you're going to maintain. Oh yes, because that's the where else are you going to find? Where else are you going to have a high amount of men who are going to be willing to do what you're asking? Especially in a hookup culture, you're not going to meet any husbands, and then husbands ain't going to wait 2 years. Why do you need to wait 1 to 2 years?
I mean, in my head that like sounds right, but I think in my heart, there isn't no set rule when it comes to love, when it comes to finding a partner and someone to build with, you know?
Well, first off, you're not looking to find. That's where you really just fell apart. Christian feminists. Partner ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. Love, what love got to do with it? We didn't fall in love before we got married. We got married and we got used to one another because we didn't date prior to the 40s and the rise of the De Beers Company and Hallmark and all this other stuff. Your great grandparents jumped brooms. There was no 1 to 2 year dating. Lastly, building, there's another modern woman fantasy. So I think that many women, I know many women are in church, are of faith, who are not living that life.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're in the dating market. You're in the dating market and you're 25 and you're only going to get older. And I'm going to tell you that a man waiting 1 to 2 years, I don't see that happening. And the reason I don't have conversations like this, ma'am, is because most people don't do this.
True.
And the reason you're doing it is your personal beliefs, but do you want to be a Christian? Do you want to have a Christian marriage? Christian
Yeah.
hierarchy?
Um,
Huh.
I think,
Funny how that pause happened.
yeah,
Hmm.
I wouldn't frame it as a hierarchy. I think
Oh, here's a
there's a
hierarchy, just like
biblical
the Holy
thing.
Spirit. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. There is a hierarchy. What's the vertical relationship?
Absolutely. But what I was saying is
The
like
vertical relationship
when we
implies
look at the
hierarchy. Does it not?
yes.
Okay.
But what I wanted to like that specific word where the whole hierarchy is like stemming from is like submission. And when we look at like the Aramaic or the Hebrew version, it's more of like a teammate, a coach, and a player. And there's something really beautiful about that. And so I would say that's what I would want. It isn't just like, oh,
Eve wasn't Adam's teammate. See,
you don't think so?
you
They
should go
didn't
back
work
and
in
look
the
at all the
garden
videos
together?
I did on. You can go back and look at all the videos I did on Christian feminism. Then I have videos where I'm talking to women who are Born again virgins or holding on? Ma'am, I've talked to you. I lived in Dallas where the Protestant life. And my point is, you talked about the doctrine is not sound. This isn't sound.
I mean,
This is basically
I
you
studied.
making up what you want to.
No, I go into seminary. I continue to study,
Okay,
and
well,
I'm reading both the old text as well as the translated English text.
okay, but in order to, but do you
Just
want,
talking to
but your
college.
husband has to still be a believer.
Yes.
Okay, then where are you interacting with these men?
There's a group called the Sexless Tribe, and so I've talked to some guys on there, and then in different
online
Black
group?
Christian singles groups. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're 25. How much time do you think you have to waste?
I don't want to waste. I don't think life should ever be wasted.
How much time do you think you have to waste in activities or things that aren't going to get you towards the goal?
0.
Okay. So, do you think you're using your time? If this is the kind of outcome you want, do you think you're maximizing your time? You don't have a regular church home. You have a group you have. All right.
No.
When was the last relationship you had?
Like the long relationship or a guy I went on a few dates with?
That's not a relationship.
Okay.
Relationship.
Last August, so almost a year.
So, conversation with a born again Christian feminist. That's the video I want to look at.
Okay.
She was from Seattle too, or she was from Arizona. Yeah, yeah, there are plenty of them in there. Okay. And the bottom line is, ma'am, you gotta end up being a. That's one of the holes I think in church today. We're not putting couples together. You can believe what you want, and when you find somebody who shares your beliefs, true. But are you, how tall are you?
Like 5'3".
Okay. Do you want kids?
Yes.
How many?
Biologically at least 2, and then adopt maybe 2, depending on like finances, of course.
Okay. And what kind of lifestyle do you want your family to live?
I'm in school to become an ambassador right now, so a lifestyle of helping people.
Monetary lifestyle.
To make sure that my kids don't have to worry about money and that we're able to
So
help.
you want to be able to pay for their college?
Yes. Yeah.
You want to be able to travel domestically and internationally with your family?
Yeah, I plan to live internationally.
Okay, so you want a man who is earning, and you're in DC, so you're talking about a man who's earning around about $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Do you care what race he is?
This is like, yeah, a black.
Okay. What percentage of
Yeah.
black men earn $500,000 or more?
Sorry, say that
What
again?
percentage of black men earn $500,000 or more?
A very small percentage. I don't know the percentage off the
Give
top of my
me,
head.
give me a number.
Oof. I feel like I'm optimistic. I might be going too high, like 10%. I don't know.
10%. 10%. What percentage and what age do you think, what 10-year age range do you think these men are in?
Like, right. No, in their 40s. I never in my head have ever thought of like, oh, I need a guy who's making this big of a salary.
But that's the problem. But that's the problem. Y'all don't think of it, but you think, but you want the lifestyle. I put potential parameters to it because you don't have to think of the dollars, but you do want the lifestyle. Men hit their financial stride 45 to 55. Are you prepared to marry a man 15 or 20 years your elder?
I think 15 would be my limit, maybe. But once again, like, I'm very optimistic in.
All right. So the number of men who make over $500,000 with black men is really less than 1%. Less than 1%. So we're talking roughly, we got about 150,000 black men who fit that nationwide. Now,
Yeah, that's
hold on. We already run the numbers. We've already run the numbers. And the thing is, what 45 to 55-year-old black man is going to wait 2 years, and he's making $500,000, and almost all of the women want men in his category. Why is he going to wait?
Only if he has the same devotion to God that I do.
So he's a 45 or 55-year-old virgin.
Which makes, or I never said they had to be a virgin.
Well, that's the only way he's going to wait or have the same devotion.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the
reason I do my program this way is because you ladies, you talk about things, you don't put practicals, you don't even, it doesn't make any sense. A man who's that age is going to wait, man, pay attention about these men don't want to even wait 3 dates to have sex.
Yeah.
So, are you prepared to substantially lower your lifestyle anticipation or expectation? Because here's the reality: the kind of men who have that kind of faith, they're typically not making that kind of money as single men.
And I'm not asking them to, though. I think that's a different thing, is obviously wanting someone who can provide, but I don't want to ever.
No, you don't want somebody to provide. You want a luxury lifestyle. That's a luxury lifestyle, man. $500,000.
Because I would be working as well. Like I would never.
You can say that. I want you to understand, ma'am. It sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to women like you every day, and it sounds. Listen, I talked to 7 women last night. It sounds good, but I'm gonna tell you, the men who I meet next week, the 30+ black men who are in that $300 to $1 million category, they don't do that. And you're
Can
saying
I say something. Sorry. I don't know if this also adds to why my thoughts on like men and finances might be a little skewed, but I was raised with, my parents have still been together for like 36 years now. And my dad was a stay-at-home dad. I don't plan to marry a stay-at-home dad by any means, because I saw how that hurt his pride a lot. But I think that also could play a role in where I'm okay with making more, but I don't plan to going into a relationship thinking I don't want that. Mm-hmm.
You can dream, but it is practically how you gonna make it happen. What kind of job, specific job titles of men that earn the kind of money you're talking about? 300 to $400,000 plus. What kind of job titles?
Let's see. There's architecture. There's different things in the government. There's some NGOs in there. Lawyers. What else? Trying to think.
I want you to understand.
Education.
You want this man, but you don't know what percentage of men earn the kind of income you would like to have, a lifestyle you want for you and your family. You don't know. You can be optimistic, but if you're trying to get into Princeton, you need to know how many people they take. You can't be optimistic. Optimism does something I asked you 15 minutes ago. Waste time. You got to be realistic. You want men in the top 1%, actually the top half of a percent. You want him to be black. You want him to be no more than 15 years older than you. And he must have your faith. That is such a finite list. Oh, and then he must wait to consummate on the marriage night, which will be 1 to 2 years. Think about the man who earns that kind of money. These men are work hard, they're focused, they're driven, they're structured. They don't tend to wait for shit. Mm-hmm. They don't even wait for it. They don't wait, and they're going to wait for you. And the thing is, you got to say it because that's what you got. They don't wait. A man at that age is not likely going to be waiting. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, this is why I don't tend to have a lot of I'm going to be honest. The reason I've done these broadcasts on Christian feminism is I think the black church has done more to destroy the black family in the last 50 years with this prosperity gospel stuff. Because what you're talking about ain't the Baptist Church of God in Christ me and my family grew up on. Women knew that they needed to get with a man younger, and if you want to have this lifestyle, you build. But you talked about build. Ma'am, the man you talked about, you ain't building nothing. He's already there, and you want to get him at the finish line. I haven't heard build language from you.
But that's like another thing I wanted to talk about just quickly because I don't want to take your time. But why would I need you talk about like finding a man who's making $500,000? I don't need him at $500,000. I can have him like if he's in grad school like me or just out of grad school or anything like that. Like he doesn't need to already be there. It could be something we do together, you know?
No.
No.
No, because
am I being too hopeful?
When you're married and pregnant with your first child, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills? Do you want to have to work to pay significant bills when you're pregnant, married and pregnant with your first child? Yes or no? Have to work to pay.
Have to. I have to. No.
Then he needs to already be there.
Okay.
And see, what I think you need to do is watch me.
No, I'm hearing you.
You need to watch me more to understand that I know what I'm talking about because I talk to men in this category and I talk to women like yourself. And the thing is, what's really going to throw you off is your faith. You want someone to wait. And that's what I've talked to all these women. Then you got to pick a man who's Christian. And from that, you don't get to... This is not Burger King. You cannot have it your way. There are only so many options you get to pick. Christian is where you get to spend most of your points. Boom. You want to roll up a character where you can only have so many attributes. Christian, where you got to put a bunch into that category. That means you don't necessarily get income. You might, but likely you don't.
If that, so be it. That is what it is.
But
I think at the end of the day,
line is, even if you understood that, you still have to face interact with these men. And I don't understand why talking about 1 to 2 years, men who are husbands don't wait 1 to 2 years.
And I guess those aren't the men I'm looking for. But before I go off, the first question I asked you never got answered. What do you like about women?
That's not what I do, man. I don't have to answer those questions. I've already answered them. What I like about women, if I didn't like women, I wouldn't be doing this. So what you want me to answer, gotcha questions. Why do you want...
It was just something like positive.
No, but why? You don't watch me enough to... You don't... First of all, you've shown that you don't watch me enough to really know who you're talking to. So whatever perception you have of me is based upon what? Clips? Small segments?
That's why I'm asking you to learn.
Well, no. What you do is go study. It's already there. I'm already doing what I'm doing. And here's the funny thing. I think that what content creators, especially women content creators, do you ask the same kind of questions? Women, it's like, I find it interesting. So many people want me to almost be a one-stop shop for all that ails things. No, this is a very specific thing, and it targets women like you, women who have high expectations, high demands, and the thing is, where are these men going to come from? Men get to pick who becomes who they propose to. Are you what the kind of men you want all across the board wants?
And I'm not looking all across the board. I'm only looking for men of faith. So I think that I know my font
you're
is
looking
small.
for men of faith,
I'm okay with
but
that.
you got a lifestyle. You want to be a grad school and an ambassador and international this and that. It sounds good, but can you live at $41,000 a year? A man making $41,000.
I make $41,000 a year.
You live with a man making $41,000 a year.
Yeah, like keep making what I'm making.
There's no ambition. There's no building up. There's no grind.
I said nothing about ever being with a guy with no ambition, because that's not attractive to me.
That's why I tell you. You see, women have been told to shoot for the stars and ask for everything on their pizza, and all they got is cheese. Cheese pizza's asking for all meat and everything else. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I get it. You can't make it happen. I mean, you can't make it happen. Have a good one. They can't make it.